Hello everybody, bear with me 1 second, I'm just having some technical issues trying to get the stream up on my laptop so I can keep an eye on things, keep an eye on the chat whilst I'm doing this. Let's see, not sure why it's not loading but I will get it up on my phone. Just want to check the audio. Keep an eye on things, keep an eye on the chat. Yep, audio sounds good at least. Right, so I'm just gonna pop that for a second. That is a good point. That is a good point. Not technical difficulties with the drone just yet. Yes, I can. It's the chat's loaded up. The stream preview has not just yet. So I'm also not sure why my face cam isn't working. I thought I was ready for this. Give me 1 second, let me have a look. I'm sure I had this problem with this did the same thing before. Yeah, I mean, Cal's got it right. Hopefully you can still hear me alright, yelling at my microphone from across the way. No. Bear with me 1 second, I'm just going to try playing the camera back in yet. Hello. Camera, where are you? Okay, right. Well, we're gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to add another one. Bear with me, bear with me, bear with me. Well, I started setting up like 2 hours ago. Had everything done and working. No, wait. Let me mess up. This is going really well. Right. Get rid of the webcam. Yes. Right. Is it all plugged in? Yes, I think. Add new source. Okay, well this is a pain in the arse. It's it does not want to pick up my my webcam at the moment for some odd reason. Wonder if it's the USB cable I'm using. This is really strange. Do I have another? Where's my other USB extension cable? We might have to do without the face cam today, I'm afraid. I'm not sure what it's doing. Unless you can bear with me for 1 moment to go and grab my other USB extension. I'll be right back. Right, I'm back. I'm back. Got a different USB extension. Fingers crossed this works. Otherwise, it's really weird. The webcam has some lights on it, and they're blinking instead of being solid. Maybe another USB port. No. Oh. USB port. Right. Last ditch attempt, otherwise no face cam today, I'm afraid. Open it up with the computer doing this. Is that going to reach? I don't know if that's going to reach. Nope. Okay. One last try. And something else. Right, is this going to work? Is this going to work? You guys still hear me, right? There we go. Right. Bear with me one second. Just get some green screen filters on this bad boy. That's that. Right, let's see, that should work now. No, not completely see-through. Almost there, almost there. We've got to back up at least. Alright, so yeah, I'm not see-through anymore. Hello! I'm back. Got the face cam working. That was a bit annoying. It was working fine earlier. I don't know what happened. Maybe I bumped the cable a bit too much. How is everybody doing? I hope you're all good, all good. We got Calvin and James in the stream. How are you guys doing today? Doing alright? So let's recap what we did last time briefly. So we got the motors soldered in and we figured out some positioning on the frame. I figured out that we can also mount the receiver, the video transmitter on the back here. So a bit out of frame there. You need to remember that. So that's what we're going to do. I didn't have any standoffs. I now have standoffs. I also looked into how we can mount the camera on the front, and we can't use these bits that came with the frame because it's too narrow. But someone on Thingiverse had designed a camera mount specifically for this frame and this camera, so that'll be perfect. The one issue being that my printer decided it didn't want to work properly this week, so I haven't been able to do a test print. I say a test print because I only have PLA, which is quite rigid and easy to break plastic, and what I want to print it in is TPU, which is flexible and won't break as easily, and the camera won't fall out, which we don't really want. Glad to hear you're good there, Calvin. Yeah, in the rush, I didn't put any color correction on to the face cam today, so I can put some on quickly if that would make you feel better. Just let me know and I can pop over. It wouldn't take like more than 30 seconds. I'll probably copy it across from the other one. Anyway, so the other thing that I did during the week, or not the week, since Friday, this is true, you're not wrong. There hasn't been much point in going outside because nowhere to go and it's been pouring with rain the whole time. Right, so I was looking at other people's builds, and what a lot of people do, instead of wiring the wires in going from this direction, they actually wire it going in from that direction. So they're a bit less likely to, because these would be sticking out the side, and I'll explain why in a second. Because if you remember last time, the way we were going to mount it was so that the wires were coming out on these sides, but I was actually looking at how people were mounting their batteries. Well, I mean, the problem with that theory, Peter, is flying this kind of drone, you can't really do inside. So if I want to fly it a lot, I'm going to have to go outside a lot more. It's a good excuse, at least. That's true. But I mean, the goggles will be covering my eyes anyway, so it'll be a nice sunshade. Alrighty, James. Thank you for lurking it, though. Yes, so I was looking at other people's builds. I was looking at how they were mounting their batteries, and a lot of people have it mounted, have their power system, whether that's powering through the flight controller or powering through the ESC, so that the wire comes, the connector comes out the back, and then you strap it to the side of the battery. So I'm going to probably do that instead. I mean, we can have a quick look at how that's going to look, just to get an idea. I've got all the standoffs here, you can see. They turned up on Monday actually. I was quite surprised. Feels like ages ago that they turned up, but it was only 2 days ago. So I've tested those and they fit great, and I thought I'd take them off and you guys can see what I'm doing. So what a lot of people do is they have the battery cable wrapped around like this, and it's strapped on, so then you can do that and you can plug this in like that, and you have it going under the strap as well. And that just means that instead of having this come out the side, there's less getting in the way if you have it coming out the back and round and up the side. And you suppose if it's coming out this side and it's too long, then I can just flip the battery over and do it around the other way. So that is some more placement stuff sorted out. Oh, no, well, it's an FPV drone. I've got the tiny little FPV camera here. I don't know how well that is. Pretty minuscule. So, and I won't be flying it through a monitor, but what I will be flying it through is these. So you can probably see it better on the big camera on there. I can show you what they look like. It is very cute. I mean, it said micro on what's called the Rhymecam Micro Swift 3. So I was expecting it to be small, but it's a lot smaller than I expected. I'm sure you're wondering what these look like when you're wearing them. And there you go. That's what they look like. Look like a bug, probably. Antenna coming up everywhere. But yeah, that's what I'll be looking through. But I will be looking at mounting a GoPro on it as well. There's plenty of people who've designed mounts for GoPros for this frame, so I'll be doing that at some point in the future too. So today I want to try and see if I can get everything else wired up. Yes, Cyberpunk 2021, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I want to see if I can get everything else wired up. It shouldn't, now that I know where I want everything to go, it shouldn't be much of an issue. And we were also talking about where the radio receiver was going to go. And I was looking at other people's, because why figure it out on my own when millions of other, well, maybe not millions, but loads of other people have done it before. And what I was seeing was people had it, so this is the front, so as a point of reference, that's where the camera is going to go. So they just had it shrink wrapped and just loose behind the camera. And the camera will probably go roughly around there, so you can see that there's plenty of space, and it will just be resting against the wiring from the ESC. If anyone has any questions of what different bits and bobs and parts and pieces are, feel free to just ask and I'll explain it to the best of my knowledge, which isn't completely expansive yet, but hopefully we'll get there. That's all part of this. So the first thing I want to do is redo the wiring on this. So we're going back to the beginning of the first, well, not quite the beginning, but we're going back to almost the beginning of the first stream. And we're going to undo that work and redo it. So I'm going to take these grommets out because I don't want to melt them. And whilst I'm doing that, I'm going to get the soldering iron heating up. So it shouldn't be too much of a hassle to redo the wiring. Now I purposely left a decent amount of slack. Oh yeah, Peter, yeah, I've been following the Corridor crew for ages. That's like one of the places that first introduced me to FPV drones, especially Ren flying his like mini one around their offices. That was pretty good fun. I enjoy those. So the one issue with desoldering these and resoldering them is I don't have any solder sucker or any solder wick. Well, I don't have a solder sucker, I should say. I don't have any solder wick, so let's see. I might need to use. That's tinned. I might need to just strip a wire and use that to get rid of some of the solder. That's probably going to be the best. Right. Yeah, Ren is best boy. I'm looking forward to seeing what they get up to this year. Right. See how this goes. I hope my head's not going to be sticking too much in the way and not putting too much shadow and everything, but I mean, this bit's not the most interesting. It's just soldering stuff and try not to breathe in the fumes too much. The solder should be fine enough. Don't want to reuse too much, and I'll probably put some extra flux on it as well, just to be on the safe side, prevent any cold joints. Don't want those coming off in the middle of a flight. Have the drone tumble out of the air. That would not be good fun at all. How's your poly bridging going, Cowan? You getting through some more levels tonight? Let's see, I'm gonna do these one at a time, I think. So I'm just gonna flip it over like that, so that these are coming out like so. I reckon that's going to be the easiest way. I don't have any of my other soldering stuff up here, so I'm going to have to make use of the other tools I have lying around to hold things in place, and I'll need my tweezers for this. How am I going to do this? Right, I'm going to flip this around. So I don't want to be holding the soldering iron with my left hand. So let's do it this way. Do that. we want to have you. Right. Okay. So pop a bit more solder onto here. Let's put a dab of flux on. Just a dab. Dab it on gently. Right. Bit more solder. Try not to breathe. Right. Now time to line up these wires and get them done. I think it took us about you're doing some bigger soldering with bigger things. It's one done. Number 2 done. Damn, that was almost perfect. Right, that's good. That one's a nice join there. Let's get the little, come on. Little, you want to go there? Yeah, there we go. Cool. So that's one motor done. So how far? We're half an hour in. I was gonna say took us about an hour to get to this point in the last stream, but so we're doing better this time. But we're only just doing better because of the technical difficulties. I think in terms of the actual time I've been doing this, it's probably been about 10 or so minutes, I reckon. Don't know what other people think. Right, let's get the rest of them off. I think there's still a decent amount of flux on these from last time, so I'm not gonna need to take off much solder. I don't think, anyway. We'll find out in the future when something goes wrong and it's because of my terrible soldering job. Alright, this is gonna have to do. Yeah, you're right. It was a lot of time pondering. I was like, where should I put this? Where should I put that? And like talking about like, oh, this bit does that, and I mean that bit was fine. It was more like sitting here like, where do I put this? Because it's like one of those things where you like, you think about it a lot beforehand, you think you've got a good idea of what you're going to do, where you're going to put everything, and then you come to actually doing it, and there's always something that, bloody hell, didn't screw that one far enough, and then you get to it and it's like, things are different to what I was expecting. But I think things will go better this time at least. I think we pretty much just finished with the soldering last time. That was like, yeah, you are completely correct there. Much better when it's like they say, measure once, cut twice. So in this case it's think lots, solder once, think some more, solder again. But at least it's only soldering these guys up again, so it's not, it could be worse. Like I could have soldered everything and gone like, oh shit, I completely cocked it up. Need to rewire everything, need to completely like cut new wires and try and get them into the sockets, and I don't imagine people would have enjoyed watching that too much. But you know, at least the first stream I did label as new builds drone or something like that. So expectations should not have been high. If they were, it's not my fault. I suppose you can expect whatever you want. Oh, come on. At the end of the day, something here. It's up to me to deliver something good, isn't it? Hopefully some people will enjoy watching at least. I hope I haven't got that too close to the other components. Should be alright. I need to trim that off a bit. It's just a little loose strand of wire. I don't really want that flicking back onto the other components on the board, shorting something out. Okay. Right. 2 down. Hopefully they have enough length still, but there's only one way to find out, and that's to try. So it's going to go on this way, it's going to be lifted up a little bit. Yeah, there we go. That's perfect. That'll do the job. That'll do the job real nice. And the wires aren't going to be sticking out the side where they can get bashed by trees and bushes and me slamming it into the ground. Which is probably going to happen a fair amount. Alright. So, flip you around again. Probably should have done the ones on the same side first, but oh well, too late now. Right. I'm not going to bother trying to wick off some of the solder on this one. It doesn't really want to come off very well. I will put a teeny tiny dab of flux just to help it all flow nice. Right, let's do number 1. Flip you over. Try and just avoid scraping the board too much with the tweezers. I say as I jab the board multiple times with the tweezers. I was going to put more solder on. Oh well, there should be enough solder on these ones. Damn it. Stay down. Oh, come on. Thought my tweezers got stuck in the solder there. And they did, but luckily they popped out. Yeah, that looks alright. Yeah, no, for sure. I've got a few hours. I think I've got maybe two or three. So it's progress. It's not as much as I want to get, but I mean, in this weather, I don't really want to be flying outside anyway. It's pretty rubbish up here at the moment. Freezing cold. I think the average is -1 at the moment, and just either chucking it down with rain or just frozen. No snow yet, unfortunately. I would like to see a bit of snow up here. Why are you not disordering? There we go. Yeah, I reckon these will need a dab more. A dab more solder. Hopefully that'll do. Flip it over. Which one? These are about the same length. Although I reckon I want that one on that side actually. Just so it all fits a bit better. Flip around again for the last time. And then whatever. I'm gonna hold it in place for a start. Hold it in place. Roll this over. Slap this down. Balance it. That would be a good start. Right, let's get this in place. We're almost there. We're almost there. This one's going to be a bit of a tricky one, I reckon. No, not too bad. Right. First lot of soldering. Done. Right, okay. So we're done with this for a second. Do I want to... I do and I don't want to put this on yet. I'm thinking the wires on it should be perfectly adequate. One of the things I was reading some people do is cut whichever side they're going to have it come out, they cut one of the wires a bit shorter just so that it's even, not flipping around. Hello, Edu. How do you pronounce your username? How's it going anyway? How are you doing today? Eduff? Is that it? We're busy building an FPV drone today. Skipped the... Did you just hit the keyboard to come up with it, or how did you come up with it? I'm not doing too bad. Not doing too bad. Just finishing up the building the drone, which I started on Friday, and then basically almost started again today by redoing some of the soldering I did. Fair enough. Fair enough. So no one will ever be able to track you from one platform to another. That's a good strategy. So I'm going to... Yeah. So I've just finished... I don't know if you were here. So I've just finished resoldering the ESC. I don't know how much you know about FPV drones, but I've just finished resoldering the ESC. I flipped the wires around so that they don't stick out the side of the frame, and I can actually tighten these ones up now. Just going to do that before I forget, because we got standoffs now, so things aren't going to be getting in the way. What I'm also going to be doing, I won't do it today, but I'm going to go through and add thread locker to most of these screws as well, to just make sure they stay in place. Fair enough. I mean, you probably know more than me. I've only recently actually started learning about FPV drones and like all the parts and everything. So, and this is my first FPV drone. I've flown a few different drones, but nothing quite like an FPV drone before. But I'm open to suggestions. If you think I should do something a different way to the way I'm doing it, then feel free to jump in and say, this is why that might not be a good idea. Anything like that. I'm hoping that we're going to get the whole build finished today. But we're going to find out. Right. So, standoffs. Standoffs all we need to do now. If I can, let's get them on nicely. Okay. What I'll also do, I'm just doing them finger tight for the moment. I'll go through and tighten these all down in the future as well. With like pliers, because I don't have anything else to tighten them down with. But yeah, just essentially getting a feel for how everything is fitting together before I solder everything up, and before I glue things in place semi-permanently. And these need to go back on the ESC, and hopefully the wires aren't going to get in the way of the next standoffs. Next in there. Do you I'm just going to call you Adaf, because I think that's the easiest thing to do. Adaf, do you fly FPV? Have you got FPV drones, or an FPV drone? Multiple drones, all the drones? This one's a little bit in the way. Let's see, I'm gonna have to pull it through. I'm gonna be trying to keep an eye on chat as best I can, but I don't have my audio on because I don't want it to echo for you guys, and so I need to set up something so that I can get alerts when things happen in the channel as well, if I'm doing something like this and I don't have headphones on or anything like that. Fair enough. How do you like the Mavic Mini? I've got the original Mavic and I've quite enjoyed flying that. But the Mavic Mini looks pretty neat as well. I think I've flown a friend's Mavic Mini. That was quite fun and quite interesting and worrying at the same time. Highly recommend not flying drones off of a boat unless you've done it a lot, because that was fun when the battery died or started to die. I was trying to get it to land on the back of the boat, and the ultrasonic sensors weren't letting it get close. So I couldn't, every time I brought it over the back to sort of bring it down or have someone grab it, which is not the best idea, but when needs must, then it would sort of bounce away in the back. Oh, I got that in sideways. That's not what I wanted. So it got to the point where the battery got low enough that it decided, oh, well, I should probably just go home. Which was something like 5 miles, maybe not 5 miles, but it was a good long way away from where we were at that point. So we're just chasing after this drone, and I was trying to not get it to land in the water, managed to yell at the driver to just stop, and then just slammed the drone down onto the roof of the boat. And I thought, oh well, shit, this is it, it's going in the water. Somehow it didn't. That's probably the luckiest day of my life. I don't think I'll ever be that lucky ever again. But I just like, as soon as it started not wanting to go onto the back of the boat, I thought, this is it. I've just lost my friend a drone. Yeah, they are very fun to fly, but it does take a little bit of getting used to sometimes. And they do. I find every single time I turn it on and it's done an update, there's always something that just it wants to do differently. It's like, well, why are you doing that? Maybe I should have soldered these ones on sideways, because I think they're going to be in the way now. But the good news is that the good news is that the motors should be fine. Hopefully there won't be too much tension. But I'm gonna just stick two bolts in to hold them in place. Otherwise I might have to rethink my strategy all over again. Programming. Well, on stream, I've been programming a Twitch bot. I've only done one programming stream at the moment, but my day job is programming, so sometimes you do need a bit of a break. But I'm planning on every Friday doing a tech stream. So this Friday I'm probably going to be just doing, as I'm doing a tech stream today, I'm probably going to be doing a hey sub, how you doing? So this Friday I'm probably going to be streaming a game. It'll probably be Astroneer. Come on, when you line up. Seeing as I did the tech stream today. But yeah, every Friday. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Yeah, do you program as well? Nice. They still haven't decided on what exactly to mispronounce your username as. You don't program? Fair enough. Do you watch quite a lot of tech streams? That's not too bad. Python was where I started learning, and I still use it now. It's not my main language, but I do still use Python every now and again. I think the most recently I've been using Python in the form of GD script, which is the scripting language used in the Godot game engine. That's good. So what made you decide to try out some Python? Yeah. Do you have an idea of which object-oriented language you want to look at first, or? I think that the thing I find with those kind of things is, I mean, what is it? You got to get to, with programming, you got to get to a certain point where you're comfortable with how everything works. Oh, fair enough. I mean, there's a lot of options that you could go for with object-oriented languages, and it's about, I guess it's about what you want to program. I've been quite enjoying using Golang and Rust at the moment, but I mostly write code with TypeScript. I'm gonna have to resolder these wires on the side here. They're getting in the way of the standoffs too much. Yeah, TypeScript is based on JavaScript. Alright, sub, see you around. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, so TypeScript is based on JavaScript, or it's sort of built on top of JavaScript. It's just kind of a tidier way of programming with JavaScript, and that is somewhat object-oriented. There's a lot of different paradigms, like there's obviously functional programming, and Python is arguably object-oriented, and you can do object-oriented programming in Python. Say probably one of the most common object-oriented languages is Java, but I wouldn't sort of recommend it as a sort of an entry language or a beginner language, unless, like I said, you have something specific that you want to program with Java. But I think Golang's quite a nice language. It's kind of Python-esque in some ways, and it's fast. It's not terribly difficult to get into. It can do lots of complicated stuff, as Python can as well. But I think the common thing that people will say is pick one, learn it well, and carry on from there, pretty much. So, and I think if you get really into programming, then you'll learn a bunch of different languages, and I think a lot of good programmers will try and learn a new language fairly frequently. Like they might spend a week or so a year like trying out a different language, or they might get dropped onto a project where they need to use a different language. Like that's happened to me in the past, like with C#. I knew nothing about C#, and I was given a project, and they basically said, we have a client who wants this old legacy code fixed, and if we can't fix it, they're going to go somewhere else. So I was dumped with the task of trying to sort that out. And after a lot of hacking things together, then I got it working. Yeah, I think that's quite a common problem with like sort of side programming, or like even as a programmer, like figuring out what can I program for fun on the side is tricky. Like there's no doubt about that. There's lots of things that you could try. I mean, like a very basic one that's not probably the best, but you could program like a to-do program, like an online to-do list or an offline to-do list. But I guess if you're working with Python, then the easiest thing will be to use command line. But you could also, like I said before, you could check out Godot, the engine, GODOT. Their GD script that they use is based on Python, and it's essentially Python but with their libraries already plugged in. So you could mess around with like trying to make a game. There's some really good tutorials on YouTube. There's one guy, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he did something like a 30-something part tutorial on Godot, and that was like it was really good and learned a lot. And so one of the things I want to be programming on stream in the future using Godot and therefore GD script is a game. Nothing too complicated, but I think that would be quite good fun. So done. This is on all we need to do. We don't need to do any other soldering to this except for the battery connector. So we will also need to, this is the box that it came in. So this is the brand of this is Acon. I think that's how you pronounce it, and I believe if you get one of their flight controllers you can just plug straight into it, but I'm not using one of their flight controllers. I'm using a Maytech Systems flight controller, so, and that just has solder pads. There's no connectors other than the USB, so I'll need to snip some of these wires and solder them on manually. The other suggestion for things to code is, if you like, you might have heard this already, but if there's anything that you find like is bugging you, like computer wise, or maybe not even just computer wise, but if there's anything like bugging you, that have a think about, like, oh, is there something that I can program that might make this easier, or might like completely remove my need to do this? Like, one of my friends, I think he might still be in the chat, Calvin, he knew a guy who basically his job was mostly working with spreadsheets, and I think he was using Python as well. He wrote some Python code that just did it all for him. So he was just getting paid to literally sit around and do nothing. So that's that kind of thing that you can do. And like for me, like I could use, for the Twitch bots, for example, like I could use Streamlabs bots or any other bots, but I want the challenge of doing it myself and being able to like have control over everything that's going on, and it also gives me an excuse to program something to show on stream. Right, so we're making good progress now. We got that all sorted out. We're gonna be putting this on, I'm not exactly sure which orientation. It depends where I need to wire things up onto it. And we can put these standoffs in the back here. don't know if these are too long. I think they should be fine. I used the longer standoffs here because the screws that I'm screwing them in with are a bit longer. I could, the standoff set that I got does have some standoff screws even, that are shorter, but the issue that I have with that one's too big. The issue I have with using those is they are nylon, and I'd rather have like a metal rod going through the standoff in the form of a screw, and just help give it a bit more strength. I guess the trick is to not screw it in too hard and split the standoff. But well, I look forward to maybe hearing you in the future. Thank you for the follow, by the way. I've just seen that pop up in the activity feed. I look forward to hearing about what things you program in the future as well. And you're always welcome to stop by if I'm doing a tech stream. There's also on the Discord server, there's a tech channel. So if you ever have any questions about programming, you're welcome to stop by there and ask tech questions. It'll just be me answering them, but you're welcome to stop by there and ask any questions you might have. Well, the thing is, you don't tell your employer that you've done the code. You just kind of look busy and hope they don't find out. And then if they do find out, you have a fail-safe built into the program. So if you don't sign it, like do something in the program once a day or once a week or whatever, the program just wipes your company's database. Don't do that. I'm just kidding. But where have I put the video? There it is. So I got the video transmitter here. So if you ever get around to building a drone, one important thing to remember is never power it on without the antenna for the video transmitter plugged in, because there's so much power being output through it. If it doesn't have the antenna to send it along, then it burns out the chip. So I'm not sure, I'm not going to screw that in yet because I'm just kind of looking at the placement of everything, but that is pretty much all of that. This guy is going to be chilling out down the front here. These antennas are going to be coming out along here and then going to be sticking out like so. Sorry, I don't know why. Automod picked up bot in the message and was like, gonna block that message. Yeah, exactly. Well, I suppose if you're working from home during like lockdown or what have you, then perfect excuse. You just need to make sure, like, if someone calls you, that you're available, not taking a nap or something. Right. So I can actually no. Right. I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to carefully solder this in, because I don't want to have to be pulling things in and out so much. And I want to strap these down as well. If it's difficult to get the soldering iron in there, I don't want to have to worry about cutting the zip ties off. So let's just take a quick look. If I pop this on, I'm just going to stick a screw in a little bit. Can't get through. There we go. Just going to screw down a little bit just so I can hold it in place. I don't think I'm going to need to shorten this cable, but Do think I'm going to need to trim it so that there's a bit more of an angle. I do have a 3D printer. I was actually going to be 3D printing the mount for this camera to go in here, but I have a bed leveling sensor on it, and that seems to have gone on the fritz at the moment, so I have not been able to print that as much as I try. I'm hoping to sort that soon. Yeah. Do you have a 3D printer as well? Yeah, it is quite a recognizable pattern. So if I have this coming up here, maybe coming out here, is it gonna be long enough? Kind of don't want to plug it into the battery. If we say that's long enough, is that gonna reach? No. All right. Okay. I think we'll be all right. Yeah. I do have another one. The first one I bought was the ANET A8. I can't wait to throw that thing away. I have an Ender 3, and that wasn't much. It was only about £50 more expensive than the ANET, but the amount of things I've had to buy to make the ANET good is probably put it up to way over what the Ender 3 cost. Which printer did you get? But they can definitely be money hogs. Like I'm presuming you've had problems that you've had to buy things to fix on the printer, right? I'm not going to cut these wires. I'm just going to solder them straight on. I don't want to risk cutting it wrong. Let's try soldering left-handed. Okay. Yeah, that sounds almost exactly like my situation with the ANET. I think I've seen that brand on Amazon. Whenever Amazon's like, oh, we saw you like 3D printers. Lots of people buy this 3D printer with this filament. Like, I have one. I don't need another one. Although I would like a resin 3D printer. But what's going on here? Is this tinned as well? I think it is. I'm gonna need to put more solder on. Yeah, it's like what's that saying about that if you replace all the parts of the ship, is it still the same ship? But yeah, I sometimes 3D printers can be a massive pain. When they work great, then they work great, and it's really awesome to be able to just like, oh, I need something that does this, and you're just like, okay, I'll just print it. Just hop into a modeling program, print it up, job done. And then when they just randomly go on the blink, you're just like, I need to print this, like, need to do it soon, and then it's just like, I'm just randomly gonna break. So the part on my 3D printer, on the Ender 3 that I have that broke, is I recently upgraded the bed leveling sensor to the BL Touch. I don't know if you heard of it. It like uses a hall sensor with a prong that it drops out, and then it senses it being pinged back up. Yeah, Ultimakers are stupidly expensive. But yeah, so that, like, when you turn it on, it does like a brief test, and then when I actually do the auto bed leveling, kind of goes through the rigmarole to a certain point, and then it's just like, I'm not gonna extend out anymore. So the hot end just goes down until it hits the board, and then the printer's like, why isn't this moving anymore? I'm gonna error out. And it's like, not again. Right, perfect. There we go. What I do regret doing is not putting a bit of heat shrink wrap over that, but I don't think it would cover up too much of that anyway. I mean, there's a lot of things that I'm doing here that I'll probably have to come back and fix in the future, but it is what it is for now. Yeah, the Ultimaker would be amazing. Resin printer, just ultimate quality. Right, I think that's going to be fine to have that way around. And then I can just pop the top off. Well, maybe not even pop the top off. See, what I should have done is seen if I could have got the version of this board that doesn't have the power distribution. Because obviously I don't need it with the ESC taking power directly. I need to solder the capacitor onto that as well in the future. Yeah. Unlike the cheap printers which eat PLA. It's like you do a million test prints and you're like, right, I can finally actually print something. And you're like, all my PLA's gone. Right. So I guess now what I need to do is look up some wiring diagrams and start actually wiring things up. So I don't need to do any more soldering on this bit. I can do it all on these tiny little individual pads. What I might... So I don't need to do any soldering on this either, which is great, because that would have been massively fiddly. Chucking stuff all over the place. Yeah. Well, you could do that with a dual extruder. I mean, obviously you'd have to mod your printer so you can put a dual extruder on it, but you can set it up to print PVA through one extruder and then PLA through the other, and same thing but at a bit of a lower cost. Right, so I guess the trick here, figure out where all these go and then trim the wires so they're not a million miles long. I think there's a wiring diagram here, but I'm gonna have to look up the... So that's the slave. It's not actually any... I mean, I can tell what it tells me. So I guess that's the pin out. So you can use that to figure out which wires need to be... You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a notebook so I can write down which colour wires need to go into what. Because we do not want to get that wrong, because otherwise we'll be shorting things out all over the place. On the note of shorting things out, I also got one of these, which is called a short saver or a smoke stopper. Then what you do is you plug the battery into this end, and then you plug this end into whatever RC vehicle you're powering, and there's an amp switch, so you got 1 amp and 2 amp. If it detects a short, it'll cut the power, so you don't have to worry about blowing up your parts, which is great. And that's also something I found out about after doing the stream the other day. So let me see. So that's the ESC wiring. Don't want the ESC wiring, no, I want general wiring. Camera, I don't, is that there? Not you, what's that? I wonder if, so on here, this is the wiring diagram. I don't know how well that's going to come across. This is the wiring diagram for the flight controller. And you can see that, I believe, is the receiver. So obviously it's a Maytech receiver. I'm just looking, so that's not, this is if you have 4 individual ESCs, and I got a 4-in-1. So that's the camera wiring, and then what's iNav? Maybe that's probably I think that'll be for the airplane. So what we're gonna be doing is using this diagram to wire up this to the ES. Well, we're gonna to wire up the flight controller to the ESC. And what else? We also need, I swear I found, probably gonna have to go off these, which is, I mean, we could probably, there's some that we can probably guess at. So I'm willing to place money on black being ground, that being the 5 volt. Now we can check that by doing a plugin. So it's that way up. Yep. Ground 5 volt. I'm going to write these down. Ground 5 volt. Then we can look them up. So we've got black, red, yellow, green and white. Black is ground, red is 5 volts, yellow is S port, and green is S bus out. I think S bus out is the one we care about. S bus out / CPPM, and this is S bus in. So I think S bus is for when you're using it with a slave receiver, and the slave receiver is basically just a backup. So if one receiver fails, then or antenna or whatever, then it'll kick over. Thank you, I've been practicing. Oh, sorry, I didn't, how much were all these parts? All of the parts themselves I think were roughly, I'm just going to turn that off so it cools down. I want to say maybe 340 pounds, but then you've got to take into account that if you don't already have them, you need a radio and goggles. So these are the goggles that I have. They're Eachine EV200Ds, and they didn't come with. It's got dual true diversity, which is better than the cheaper, the lower end model of the Eachines, which doesn't have diversity at all. These were about £200, but I managed to find someone selling them new on eBay for £200. So I managed to get a bit of a discount. But none of these, if you buy them directly from Banggood or whatever, they don't come with antennas. So the antennas were maybe another £50, I'd say. And then you've also got the radio. So this is a Radio Master TX16S with Hall sensor gimbals, which are just a bit more accurate than the lower cost potentiometer ones, which are just like coils that sense it. These use magnets. And this was like 130. So it's in terms of the drone itself, it was quite inexpensive compared to how much you can spend on them and how much people do spend on them. I didn't go as cheap as possible because I didn't want to cheap out too much on parts, and I believe that these parts are decent quality. But you can easily spend £1,000 or more on just up front. It's definitely a lot. But the other thing is, if one individual part breaks, it's not that expensive to replace. The radio and the goggles, they shouldn't break in theory for a long time. Like these the video transmitter I think was like £25. This was like 30. The ESC another 30. The frame is 26, and the motors were like £18 each, something like that. So if one component breaks, provided it's only one, it's not too expensive to replace it. And with the frame you can buy arm pairs, and each pair of arms is like £6. Yeah, no, exactly. Don't drop it in the sea, don't drop it in the water, and you should be all right. But even then, you at least you won't have to pay for a new frame. But I would say that you wouldn't have to worry about the motors, but given that you're dropping it in salt water, you probably don't want to risk it. They're probably not going to last. Right. Let's go back and not throw things around. That's not something we want to do, but let's have a look what we're looking for. Pin definitions. Well, none of those help. What about if we look on this itself? We have, okay, so we've got a bunch of 5-volt rails. We've got a bunch of grounds. I think this side is for the camera, and then I think this side will be for everything else. So I can see there's an RX1 and RX2, and I believe, well, then there's a bunch of RXs actually, like an RX6, 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 RX6. So these will be for if you have individual ESCs. So now we come to another tricky part. Figuring out where all the wires go. What's on this one? Nope. Wiring for forward. What about the spec? Nope. Nope. Maybe I should just start by wiring up the camera, because that's fairly straightforward, I think. So no, I don't think that's a receiver, being completely honest. So at least we know. That. No? Yes? No? Is that a receiver? No, I don't think that. Damn it. Why is this got to be so complicated? Why don't you have receiver wiring? Okay. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by wiring up the things that I definitely know where they go, and that is the ESC to start with. So I'm just going to mark that as the receiver, and then ESC. So I've got this one up here. Oh, actually, the VTX is a Maytech as well. There you go. That is not the exact same board, but I think all the pins are going to be completely different. No, they're not completely different. They're kind of flipped around. There's VTX, VBT, VBAT, ground, TX3 and RX3. So that's where the video transmitter is going to be hooked up. So that's a relief. I'm not sure what so it's got, so these are this row of connectors here, or row of pads here. That's where we're going to be hooking up to the flight controller. I'm not sure what these 4 pads on the other side are for, in all honesty, and it doesn't really say. So well, at least we know the wiring for that. That is one thing. That's that one, and then this should have come with a wiring. Okay, so this has the wiring thing on the back of this. So where is it? It's over here. Let's use some reference. We don't need this for the moment. And it's got things kind of got the pin out there, but that's a lot clearer. Which way does it plug in? That way around, right? No, it can't be. Okay, right. So this is upside down in comparison to this. So right. So once again, no, write down the Y colors: black, red, white 1, white 2, white 3, white 4, yellow, and blue. So the white ones are all for the ESCs. Black is ground, red is battery, E1, E2, E3, and E4. And yellow is current, and blue is telemetry. So the telemetry is like a heads-up display essentially. So this has what's called an OSD built into it, which is on-screen display, and the on-screen display does what it says on the tin. You can configure what kind of stuff you want to see in your goggles, basically. So I'm not sure if I imagine the telemetry will be one way, because there's not really any telemetry that the ESC will need to read. But essentially that will send the telemetry to here, and this will pass it through the OSD and output it to the goggles. So that you can see like the battery voltage and that kind of thing, and know when you need to come in for a landing. So I'm gonna plug this in. If I can figure out which way is the right way up. Not that way. Yeah, it is. It is. This is the other way up. Come on. In you go. And this is just so I can figure out how long the wires need to be. Kind of before I chop and solder. Might be alright to just leave them that length. I'm a bit wary of soldering over the flight controller, because you don't want drops of solder just dropping down, but that might be the easiest way to do it. Measure, cut, strip, solder. So I'm probably going to do it that way, and I will need my reference. Just gonna, which is this one, with a current sensor. I see, right. So I'm actually okay. So the S1 through 4, that'll be. I mean, you can't see it very easily, but there's no, that's not going to work. So on the diagram that I'm looking at, it's got S1, 2, 3, 4, and those are actually on the reverse, I believe, if I'm looking at this right. Yeah, so ground, S1, S2, S3, and S4 are on this side, and those are for the white wires. Not the black one as well, just the whites. So the white wires are the ESC controllers, and you want to wire them up to the bottom here. I imagine in the same order they are down here. And then all of the rest, which is the 3 on top, they go to these ones here. So positive rail, ground, and telemetry. So we're not using current. Not sure, as this has a current and a telemetry output. I'm not sure. Not sure if I should wire. All right, thank you for joining the stream. Thank you for the follow, and I hope you have a good night's sleep. And I'll see you around next time. And like I said, happy to answer any programming questions you might have. Thank you. I hope that it will go well. So, as it has a current sensor as well, I'm wondering if I can wire the current up, because it's this. So there's one for 4-in-1 ESC with current sensor, and then there's one for Okay, yeah, I think. Okay, I think I don't need to use the current sensor. I think I can just use the telemetry, because supposedly the firmware on this board can output that via the telemetry, and it is selectable, so I could, in theory, solder that up as well, but I'm going to do what they say here and just use the telemetry, and we'll see how that goes. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, then hopefully it won't short anything out. Sure it won't. And I need a different pin or a different end for my soldering iron, so bear with me whilst I dig out my box down here. How are people in chat doing? Can you let me know if you have any suggestions? So I don't know how well you can hear me, but if you have any suggestions, then for the drone build or for anything, then let me know. But I hope your people in chat are doing well. Find these. I never find the things that you want when you need them in a hurry. I probably haven't even put them in here, they're probably somewhere else. They're here somewhere. Might have to just... Okay, they're not in that box. And that box can stay there for the moment. I think maybe they're down here. This is what happens when I don't tie down my tech bench properly. Can't find the blooming things I'm looking for. Right, I don't actually know where I put those. Oh no. They were right in front of me all along. They were right in front of me the whole time. I knew I put them somewhere safe. I just put them somewhere too safe. Right, I think I want to use the smallest one for that extra fine soldering. So let me see. So how high is this? That's pulled down nicely. Famous last words. No, it's all good. Alright, let's get this on. Get it warmed up and get a soldering. Right. So. Still need to figure out how to wire that up. This is going to be a piece of cake. Because it's same brand. But yeah, we're getting very close to being finished actually, and then all that's needed after that is some configuration. I can try plugging it in. We'll see. We'll check for shorts first. I can try plugging it in. I don't think that there's any firmware on the boards. I think you need to flash them. Maybe there is firmware. It's just probably going to be out of date. And the other problem is it doesn't know which orientation you've got your motors hooked up. So you don't really want to run the risk of turning it on and it's like, I want to tilt forwards and it just flips sideways or something. But I can probably at least turn it on. Should be able to sync up the... Damn, that's a dirty tip, I need to clean that. Should be able to figure out how to sync up the receiver and the goggles. Right, so I'm gonna do the bottom ones first, as I think they're going to be the trickiest. And I'm going to do, so it's going to be that, see, so it's going to be that way. So if I solder them on like that, then I'm going to want to do it in that way because it's going to rotate. Right, now that we've figured that out, so we want number one. Oh, this is fiddly. I don't want to wire them up wrong either, because you want to know which one's which. You want them to match the numbers on the boards so you can actually tell the configuration. And I'm going to leave a little bit of slack because I don't want to. I think these are going to be a pain. These I'm going to cut off the end. Where are my trimmers? Where have they gone? I've got my strippers, but where are my snips? There they are. Right, let's just take the clip off. I mean, no, because that's good. Sorry, I was just thinking that what I could do is do a tiny bit of custom wiring, but I don't have any wire that's kind of this fine. I was thinking if I had solder onto here a bit of wire and hook up another connector, then I can just plug them in together rather than having to solder this directly, but that is not an option, unfortunately. I just want to take the very end off. Is this going to do it? That's the question. I don't think that's lost any wire. I mean, it's definitely not long enough. That's for sure. But I want to trim it down. I'm going to take off about that much. Oh. Just so it's not flapping all over the place. Right, now let me just, no, I don't want to take off. This is actually somewhat scary. Right, okay, done. Right, tin the pads. Man, this is tense. This is very tense. It's alright. I'm actually gonna put my favorite on, and I'm actually not gonna use this. I'm gonna use the closest thing I have handy, a zip tie, just so I can get a nice blob and smooth it out. Right, okay. So, comes the stressful bit. I'm going to flip this around just so I can use my left hand to hold it in place. I'm going to solder it. I'm going to overshoot it a bit so that I can trim off the excess. Melt. This is not the best solder job. Okay, right. Tweezers are needed so I can get nice and close. Because this is not going amazingly otherwise. Right, I think that should hold. Definitely gonna try and trim the wires a bit smaller on the next one. I do not think my snips are gonna get that off, but hey ho. Right, number 2. This one. Actually, you know what? Let me check that this rolls over alright. Yeah, that's even a bit long, but that's fine. Rather have it too long than too short. Double check that the white one so, oh, you're kidding me. I've done it the wrong way around. I've got to take that one off. That one's supposed to be, that one's number 4. Whoops. Good thing I checked. It's from the battery. Number 1 is next to the battery, next to the power lines, I should say. And this is very awkward. Come on, grip. There we go. Okay, right, so I got solder on that one. Get the soldering iron out. Don't want to breathe the solder fumes in. Right, don't make the same mistake as me. Check your wiring. That's number 4, not number 1, but I think I want to, if I wire it up that way, then when we flip it over, these are going to twist that way. Yeah, so I do want to wire from number 1 first, so I'm just going to put a dot more solder on number 1. And rewire it. I almost did it wrong again. Almost, after all of that, almost. Right, so you're number 4. You're number 1. When I flip you over that way, you're going to unrotate. So let's get you soldered down, boy. Much better. Much better. So then this one's number 2. So we're going to measure, and I reckon there, trim. Okay, you know what? I'm going to take these standoffs out because they are just getting in the way. Can't be having that. Right, okay. That should make our life much easier. Number 2. If I can still get it around then. Come on. I suppose, you know what's going to be easier? I'm going to measure the last one, number 3, and I'm going to trim it. And then I'm going to actually unplug the thing. Right. If you wouldn't mind just tucking yourself out of the way there. And you guys can take yourselves out of the way down there or something. So that's number 1. This one's number 2. Okay, the very end off. This is fiddly as hell. And I'm scared that I'm just going to chop through the wires completely, and I also need to tin the other pads first. Get a nice blob on. Nice blob on, great. Okay, so number 2. Let's get you down, number 2. Why are you so much shorter than the other? Fine, whatever. Just hold it in place better, right? Right, okay. Number 2 is in place. Number 3 needs trim. Needs to be stripped. Okay, right. Number 3. Okay, done. Number 4. The last one on this side. Done. Right, so we can flip it back over now. The wires are a bit crisscrossed, but as long as they're in the right way, that's the main thing that matters. I'm just gonna plug it back in. Wait. It's this way up. Right, come on. Here we go. Get in the hole. Oh boy. This is getting challenging. Why is it so hard to just plug this in? There we go. Right. That's that done. And you on the other side of these wires, come on. Okay, right. We're making progress. We are making progress. Let us sort out the wiring. So, simple enough. It goes to here. These pads here. Although I wonder if those are all RX6. That's telemetry. Doesn't matter which one it goes to. Is that number 1? Right, I'm gonna wire them up exactly how it has it on the diagram, just so there's absolutely no issues whatsoever. And I'm probably gonna just take the tips off because I want to know that I have enough slack. Right, and we also want to, oh, sorry about that. We also want to know that we've got I can't remember what I was going to say. Complete brain fart. It is getting fairly late though, it's almost 10 o'clock. But we are making good progress, so I will keep going. I will keep going until we've got at least the VTX soldered up as well. I will see what I can do about finding out where the receiver goes, but I'm actually at a bit of a loss. So the documentation is surprisingly bad. Oh, why are you blobbing up like that? Don't do that. That's not what I wanted. Just go down the holes. There we go. Right, that'll be enough. I always have a sore throat after doing a lot of soldering. Doesn't bode well for my future throat health. Right, plenty of solder on there. Just clean you off. I'm gonna have to grab a drink of water in a second. I just don't like to keep my water on this desk whilst I'm doing these kind of things, because you really don't want to tip water all over your half-built expensive junk. Well, not junk, but it would be if you dropped water all over it. But we're getting there. We are getting there. I don't know why I didn't need to solder both of those up. That was dumb. Oh god, I get confused. Right, so we don't need the blue wire, which is the blue. No, we do need the blue wire. We don't need the yellow wire. What I'll probably do is I'm not going to chop it off or anything. I'll probably just unclip it from the socket. And what I am going to do first is the first one I'm going to solder is the telemetry wire, because I don't want to. Now that I've tinned both of those small pads, which I didn't need to do. I mean, it'll be fine. Like, there's nothing, like, it's not bridged or anything, so it's not gonna cause any shorts. But I don't want to solder up to the wrong one. And just to double check, it is RX6, which is this one on the left here. I'm going to get nice and close, a good amount of pressure on that. Wait for it to melt. Lovely. Right. Then we're going to do ground. This giant pad, we are going to put this tiny little wire. What's that? I hope yeah, I mean, it shouldn't pull too much power. I hope. Fingers crossed. I mean, it doesn't need to draw lots of power. I did think about heat shrinking these wires together, but I think I'm just going to zip tie them, because I don't want to have to go through the faff of cutting through heat shrink. I'd rather just cut a zip tie, and I've got plenty of teeny tiny ones, so that should be fine. That should be fine indeed. Okay, then we're going to want to unplug that, but right. Fingers crossed That is wired up correctly. Right. General wiring. Ooh. So this is for that. That's for the camera. Right, I'm gonna do the camera next. And one other thing with the camera is, do I trim all the wires down again? Because we got a lot of wires here, a lot of long wires, and I could just bundle them up behind here. I don't know. See, the thing is, because I don't have that mount, I don't know if maybe it would just be better for me to wait until I've printed the mount, so I can make sure that the camera, actually we can just pop the camera out of that. It might be, I might be better off, because I don't know where, like I said, like I was saying, and what, 100 times now? I don't know exactly, is this even, which way is this going? That way. Why aren't you going in? Oh. Don't want to bend the blooming pins. Yeah, this is definitely the right way round. Man, why does it want to go in? I really don't want to break it, but at the same time, get in there. There we go. So this is going to go somewhere like here. And if we look at the general wiring, then all of these probably going to route underneath to here. These are all through holes, so I can actually, if I pop this off, then I can actually just run this underneath. You know what? I think I'm better off not cutting those at all. I think I'm better off hooking it straight up, and then I can just tuck the slack in underneath between the boards and hope that none of them get extremely hot. So then the question is which is which. Obviously, like usual, black is ground, red is 5 volt, and the rest are the rest. So because it has the data on here, so this is 5 to 36 volts. The black one is ground, the yellow one is video, the blue one is VBAT. I think that's because this has an OSD as well. The brown is G/TX. And the green is M/RX. So these ones, so the black and the red, where do they go? They go at the back. So ground 5 volt, no, it's this side. 5 volt ground, camera 1's yellow wire, which is video, RX and TX. So that should be fine then, I reckon. I mean, those are the only places that it can really go, but there's 5 and 6. I'm not sure where the VBAT plus on here goes. I can't be powering it, can it? Let's see, let's go to RunCam and have a look. Have a look and see if they have some wiring diagrams or some further explanations, because I do believe the box, nothing on the box has some info here. This is about joystick control and UART control switchable. So yeah, power, and then right. FPV cameras. Micro Swift. Where to download the user manual. Presumably they haven't changed the output wires, so this is definitely the Micro Swift, right? Yeah, Micro Swift 3. So see, 5 volt. No, they have. They have. Where is the documentation for the Micro Swift 3? Ah, how to do the wiring setup. No, that's good. Right, there we go. So the yellow wire. Oh, what? They haven't used it in this wiring diagram. Handy. Well, I guess that's another one to be popped out. Okay, fine. Fine. Let's get to soldering then, I guess. Can carry on looking at the wiring diagram of this. Right. Black. Red first. Pop you through. Okay, right, I see. Let's spin light. Okay, right. Now, you know what? I'm going to do I'm going to have to unplug this. Try not to bash my the soldering hand into my soldering iron. They haven't bloody... Right, so I know that the one on the left, that's, let me double check, 5 volts. Why are the pads above it? Don't know. Anyway, is definitely that side? Yeah, definitely that side. Right, 5 volt ground, start there. How am I going to do this? Tin it a bit. Get out of here. Get out of here, cable. Right through there. Right, done. Done. Got one through. And hopefully not a load of solders popped through the other side. Oh, that's a ton of solder. That is way more than I wanted. Right, let's just... Okay. Go on, get through. Okay, that's not going anywhere. Right. So the next one should be camera 1. There's a load of solder. Right, we'll sort that out. So camera is video. So let's just okay. Should be not too bad. Oh, come on. That going darn booger doop. Oh, that's warm. That's warm, that is. Question is, can I get it through now that it's... Right, so then we're skipping VBAT and we're doing TX. TX is brown and TX is this one on the far end. So let's do RX first, which is green, seeing as that's the next one along. What I might do is through a little bit, flow some solder down in there, and then stick it in. Yep, that's good. And then TX into there. TX and TX done. Right, camera soldered. I think all those solder joints look alright. And then I just need to disconnect this wire. Right. So we're making progress. So we can unplug this. Don't need the brown wire, so we can pop that one out. That's the thing. What don't I say? Calvin? What is it that I do not say? Do tell. Come on. Right. Just gently lever that up. Right, okay. No. Okay. Apply pressure to brown wire. Lever up on thingy and pull. And pull. There we go. Maybe it's... Yes. Yeah, no kidding. Definitely not nearly 500 degrees, that's for sure. Okay, and we also need to get rid of the yellow wire. So that's the second one. So it's just get a grip on it. man, these are fiddly as hell. I'm gonna end up stabbing my finger with the sharp as hell tweezers if I'm not careful, but we got it. Woo! We're making good progress. So I also realised that I wanted this up the wrong way around. I meant to wire it so that it was that direction, but it's too late for that now. What's done is done. It doesn't matter too much in the end of the day, thankfully. So let's just check. Red's connected to 5 volts, black's connected to ground, yellow's connected to camera 1, green, which is green's RX is connected to RX, and blue, which is TX, is connected to TX. Shit. Blue was the one I didn't want to wire up. Damn it. I want the brown one there, not the blue one. Ah, crap. Carefully does it. Clean you off. This is why you shouldn't do these kind of things at 10 o'clock at night. Unless you've only just got up. In which case, go ahead. Now the fiddly bit's getting this bastard back in. Yeah. Right. Okay. Which way up? I never did get that glass of water that I said I was going to grab. This way up. Right. Okay. Where are my tweezers? Over here. Okay, well, we got it back in at least. That's the main thing. Now we want to remove the blue. Always double check, friendos. Double check if you've got your wiring right. Otherwise you're gonna blow something up. Did you get in? No, come on. There you go. Did I get it in? That's not what I'm meant to be doing. I'm meant to be getting it out. Come on. What are you stuck on now? Oh, come on. Watch someone pulling wires out of a socket for half an hour. Simulator 2021. Newest craze. Right. Double check that I have them soldered correctly. That way round. So brown should be going to TX, and TX is the one on the end. So let's get it in there, shall we? Preferably not solder the iPad. That wouldn't be great either. See, this is where you want a solder sucker. You can get all the solder out the little through hole. You don't have to worry about struggling like that. I am going to put a dash more solder through some of them on this side because they do look a bit lackluster. Where's the blimmin' thing? There's the thing. I do want to get rid of a little bit of this solder. Without bridging anything and creating a short. Right, okay, so one of them looks alright. 2 of them look real bad. They now look a lot better. Okay. That should be the camera wired up. So the only 2 things we need to do are the receiver and the transmitter. And we're going to do the transmitter now. And I'm going to check the wiring diagram on it. And this is where I don't have any specific wires, so I'm going to have to use some of my own. I don't have any nice tiny little silicon wires, so I've got some single core. It's quite solid. So we'll see how that goes. So let's weasel you around that. You're going to be going in there. I do think that I should probably order myself some nice silicon wire. I don't know what gauge this is though, that's the problem, it's absolutely minuscule. Order myself some nice teeny tiny gauge stuff. So this goes on this side, on the pads. No, it goes above the camera. It goes above the camera, and it goes on 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I think there's also a bunch of extras. So that's the battery, that's the ground, 5 volt and ground in the middle are ignored. Video goes to VTX above the camera. And Tim, where does Tim go? Is that Tim or is that TLM? TLM, not Tim, but we'll call him Tim. Hey Red Space Robot, how you doing? It's getting there. It's got to the point of the night where I'm doing silly things because it's quite late and I'm fairly tired, but you know, we're making progress. We've got 2 things soldered up. Well, I suppose if you count the motors, then we've got 6 things soldered up. We've got the video transmitter left to do, and the most complicated, even though there's like only 4 or 5 wires, figuring out where to wire the receiver up. I am currently at a loss because I can't find any wiring diagrams. Well, the score so far, maybe a good 10 to 2 maybe in my favor, I think. So so far I've only made 2 silly mistakes and I've managed to get everything else soldered up. Yeah, we're getting there. I'm now just deciding how best to do the wiring. So some of these pins along here, 5 of these pins along here need to be wired up along here. I don't have any of this nice flexible tiny little silicon wires, so I've got to use some slightly thicker, slightly stiffer wire, but I'll probably look at replacing that. But we're just going to have to do what we can do with what we got. Yeah, probably that. I mean, I haven't burnt my hands yet today. So it stays that way, preferably. Yeah, it's coming along. It's coming along. We're almost there. I really want to get the soldering finished tonight because that means that then I've just got the configuration to do. I also want to test to just plug it in, see if it explodes or not, which it shouldn't do because I have this guy, which is a short saver. So just if something's, it's also known as a smoke stopper. So I think you can guess. Yeah, that's a good question, Calvin. How was your stream? Red Space Robot? How'd it go? And how's your day been? Let me think. Where were we? There. We need 5 wires. We need. Got yellow. I'm gonna have to use a green. I've got this bit loose. So that needs to go. Needs to go around to here. This is going to be a bit of a pain because it's so. Who knows where that went? And then so that goes on. You know what? I've got so much this wire and it was so cheap. I'm just gonna cut ones that are about this length and then trim them. So we've got red. We need some black. See how stiff this is compared to this stuff. It just flops about all over the place, and this is like solid. What gauge is this? This is 20 gauge. So I reckon for this, I wonder if this is a 12. There's no writing on it, so unfortunately I can't say for sure. But I reckon that's 12 gauge. So I just order a set of like 12 gauge wire. Yeah, I think I've seen that as well. Like my streams have been pretty quiet, and a few other people's streams have been quiet-ish given the size of the channels. But I'm glad the challenge was successful. How are the tethers doing? Are they happy? You keeping them well fed and watered? I mean, generally my streams are fairly quiet anyway, so depends what I'm doing really. But actually, last Friday's drone stream was quite busy. There was a decent amount of people watching it. So who knows what's happened today? Maybe just everyone's watching all the really, really big channels and they're like, ah, these scrubs. Nah. Sure it's not. Sure it's not. Yeah, okay, right. I'm gonna start by soldering all these in place. And once I've soldered them in place, I will trim them down as needed. And these ones, the reason I like single core, it's good for basic circuits and it's very easy to strip because it's just a single chunk of metal in the middle. But like you were saying, it's not flexible, which doesn't help in some circumstances. Right, okay. So time for some more flux. How's the music, by the way? Is the music alright? Not too loud. Hopefully the audio is all good. And video, Tim, and piano. Right, cool. Cool. I'm glad I didn't really check it very much when I started the stream, so I'm glad that there's a good balance. That is always a relief. Right. Prop this up. Double prop time, let's go. Okay. Oh no, you know what? You know what's going to be much easier? Like I've done with everything else. Tin. Probably too much. Right, what's the next one? Video, telemetry, and piano. Oh, the handle's getting hot now. Right. Whew. I'm glad that at least something's keeping you guys entertained. You know what? I don't know that. I think these wires are a bit too big. It's right on the edge. You know, that might be alright actually. Yeah, I think that should be fine. It's pretty. I'm definitely gonna replace these wires with some thinner ones, some more flexible ones, and I definitely need to put some heat shrink on them as well. Right, at least I can use the other one as a brace. Hold this one. Right, finger on that. Scrunch the hand up. Heat the solder up. Don't melt off other components. Come on. Damn. This one's not playing nice. This one's not playing nice at all. Slipping and sliding all over the place. Come on. Budge up. There we go. Oh. Right. Before I continue, I really need a glass of water. Give me 1 second, or a sip of water. Oh, that's better. Whew. Right. Next up, we've got vid. Next up, we're soldering in V. And after we've soldered in V, we're soldering in Tim. And then we're soldering in their piano, apparently. No, is actually pin IO. If anyone was wondering what it really was I was talking about. And this is rather dodgy. I do not hold any confidence in this holding up if there was a crash. But also, like I was saying before, I'm not going to be flying this outside just yet because the weather at the moment is absolutely pants. But at the very least, what I will do is put a little bit of shrink wrap on these guys because I don't like how exposed they are. Whew. Well, that's one slightly scary, slightly worrying solder done. Oh, you know what? I have all this spare from the motors. I probably could have used. I don't know. I think it might have actually been. Yeah, that's too big. But actually, what gauge is this? I'm sure it's still a gauge. 20 gauge as well. So it's the same gauge as that. Not helpful. And I thought, oh, that'd be perfect. I don't have to worry about buying any other wires. No such luck. No such luck. Right. Heat shrink, and then I can. Right. I'm just gonna use what's gonna fit best. You gonna fit? You are just about gonna fit. Do I wanna? So it's gonna be a massive pain to get all the way down. Yeah, that'll do. Right, cool. So I think I'm gonna take 2 out just in case, but I think one. Are they all the same size? 1, 1.5, 2, 2. Okay, fine. Whew. We're getting there. So what do we need? We need 10 pieces. They don't need to be very long. So we got. We're going to shoot all over the place. We've got 1. Count with me now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Right, obviously these are tiny, so these need to go on the smallest ones. Hopefully they're long enough, otherwise, oh yeah, plenty long enough, plenty long enough. Right. How is your space engineering going, Calvin? I hope it is going well. I hope you are engineering your dreams and all that. Right, now I want to very, very carefully. I wish I had some Kapton tape. Please don't damage the board, please don't damage the board, please don't damage the board. Okay, right. Cool. Yeah. So those bits are covered up. Just to be on the safe side. I very much hope that these next pieces of heat shrink aren't going to melt when I'm soldering the wires down. But if I'm quick when I'm soldering, that shouldn't be an issue. Right, bring the boat. bring you back. Okay. Right. So bend you up, bend you up, bend you up, you up, and you up. Right. Okay. So start with the one with the furthest. Please don't break. Please don't break. Right. Okay. So the furthest one away is the TX. So the TX you want to wire up to Tim. Tim is blue. Tim to TX. Oh, wait. That's exactly what I didn't want. The bloody wires coming loose already. I can at least get an idea of how long it needs to be, which is around there. Right. After Tim, we got the pin IO going to RX, like so. Probably want you to hook around a bit. I've changed my mind. I want a wire starting on this side so that I know which ones are gonna block which other ones. And I do want it this way up. So the first one is the VBET. The VBET. Oh hell. I don't think these wires are going to hold at all. You went and got the pair Partum Exploration and Analysis rover. Welded up. Tested. Only dropped out of the sky due to lack of jetpack fuel, as well as I was being distracted by your streaming a couple of times. Fair enough. Fair enough. So is the pair something of your own making, or is it in-game content? I'm guessing it is something of your own creation, right? Right, okay, so once again, I come to you with flux. Blob. Blob. You're saying your pear is a disaster? I thought it would have been quite tasty. Get a bit more solder on you. And on you. Right. That ought to do for not solder, flux. Whew, right. We're getting there. We are getting you. Right. Now, I'm just gonna solder the prong in. Imagine at some point it will be subject to some disaster. Yeah, I mean that's a fair assessment. That is a fair assessment. I'm sure you will be happy to hear this, but I was thinking that maybe we should stream some Space Engineers at some point. What do you think about that? maybe even next Monday. How do you think about that? How do you feel about that? And what do you think about that? That is the question. It would be fun. We'd have to figure out some challenges. Some things we can do. What do you have any ideas for challenges that we can do? Right. This is going to be a finger job. That's not going to be fun. One done. Now are you going to want to break off as well? Probably. Come on, off you get. There we go. Yeah, we can go achievement hunting. I'm down for that. Those are always fun challenges. What about non-achievement challenges? You got any thoughts on those? Try out some mods and stuff, I guess. Right, VTX is yellow. So about that long. Bloody stuff always shooting off halfway across the countryside. Just because it doesn't get to be in part of the drone and go flying, it decides to go flying without the drone. It's shocking behaviour from pieces of wire. Oh, bugger. Sodding ground connection came off. Oh man, this soldering of these wires. There is no way in hell that I'm gonna be flying with these wires on here still. Because they just are not gonna do the job. Right. I've only got 2 more wires on this to do. Could load up some hostile environment mods. Yeah, that could be a good fun challenge. Blue is TX check. It's from Tim. Blue is from Tim. Blue is for TX3. Blue is indeed for TX3. Is it going to reach? Yes, but we also don't want to do TX3 yet. We want to do RX3. Oh. I don't know if you guys can see this, but the let me show you. Let me pick this up. Let me show you where that one went. Into the bindings of my notebook. Look at that. Straight in there. I sat there for a second waiting to hear it clatter across the floor, and it just didn't come. I was like, huh? Looked around and it's just like, wait, what? Well, at least these wires are keeping you more entertained than I am. But we're getting there. We're getting there. the moments of concentration are hopefully nearly there, nearly done, and we can start seeing if it's actually gonna run by checking if there's any shorts, plugging in a battery, and then calling it a night. But obviously the last bloody okay, well that doesn't matter anyway, because this sodding wire came off. Cut the bastard too short. I've got some spares. Let's get a bit of a longer one and sort that out. The wires, yeah, they're really not happy about staying on the pads, because the pads are tiny. Oh shit. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, but that orange thing on the bottom, that is the underside. No, you can't see that. Oh, can you? If I do this. No, you still can't see it very well. So on this wire that's just fallen off, that is a pad. It's some FPV drone building in which I've just bloody well done a big boo-boo that I'm not very happy about. And I don't know if it's worth me trying to keep going using these wires, or if I should just hold off, desolder these ASAP, and just so I don't. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna play it safe because I really don't want to have to buy another BTX. And luckily, the pads kind of go along, down, and then under, so it's not like there's no pad left. And I don't want to ruin any more, so I'm gonna desolder these, and I will order some better cabling. I thought these would be fine for the ones that didn't come with, but clearly I was wrong. Very, very clearly, I was very, very wrong. This is the first drone that I have built, Godly. Welcome to the stream, by the way. My motivation for building it was I've been wanting to build one for years, and seeing as we're in lockdown over here, I thought, what better thing to do than to build an FPV drone, and it gives me something to stream on tech days, which is normally a Friday, but I wanted to get this finished. Unfortunately isn't going to happen because I don't have the right blooming wires. Yeah, I wanted to build one for years. Do you have an FPV drone? Do you fly FPV? Three, nice. All built yourself, presumably? I have to admit, I've probably bitten off more, like with the putting it together. That's fine, but I'm used to soldering and working with circuits, but I'm building a 6-cell 5-inch, and I've flown drones before. Like I've had a couple drones. Like I've got a Mavic, which is obviously super easy to fly. And I had one of those like cheaper ones from Amazon that I've flown a lot. That's just line of sight. But yeah, I've wanted to build an FPV drone for a very long time, and I just thought, why not? Very nice. Yeah, I'd be curious to see what you could do with onboard computers like a Raspberry Pi. It's a shame they're all built, because I was gonna ask if one thing I'm struggling with at the moment, now that I've given up on that until I have the right wires. I don't have any small gauge silicon multi-core wires to hook these pads up to the flight controller with. But I was going to ask if you had any idea what I should be looking for wiring up the receiver, because I can't. I'm looking at the wiring diagrams online for this board, and it's got like LED strip, it's got individual ESCs, it's got like a GPS module or a buzzer or something, probably GPS module, I guess, and it's got what looks like a receiver, but I'm not certain that it is. No, that one's a GPS that I'm looking at. Sorry, I know you guys can't see, but there's something that looks kind of like a receiver. Yeah, it's just, I'm just here like, which one do I need? Because this is a FreeSky receiver, and I'm wiring it up to a Maytech flight controller. This is a FreeSky RXSR, and the Maytech is the Maytech F722, and I got the wiring diagram for the FreeSky, which is pretty basic. It's just which pins are which, and then I'm looking at the wiring diagrams on the Maytech website for the flight controller, and it just, nothing seems to quite match up. There is only one thing that has, what the hell's that say? I mean, I think there's one thing that looks like it is this, but then the outputs don't match. Oh no, actually they do. I just realised what some of the letters mean. It's been a long day. Right, okay. So wrote this up beforehand. So this matches up. So we want to wire up that, then we want to wire up the S bus out, and this is the smart port, so this goes to RX2, no, that goes to TX2, and this goes to RX2, I hope. And this goes to 4V5. And then presumably that goes to any ground. At least that's what I can tell. So then the next thing is I know that I've seen people put it on the front and then wire it with the antenna coming out the front, but there's not a huge amount of space down there. I reckon I could potentially, I don't really want it going around and under the battery wires, but it's got quite a long cable. So if I temporarily hook it up like that, then we can kind of see, like it could go under the battery cables, right? Could potentially sit in there like that, go along these legs and stick out like so. That's what I'm thinking might be the best option, but then these cables would have to go like under and then up and then wherever RX2 is. Okay, right, so it just wires up RX2, 4v5, ground, and then TX2 is up above it there. So potentially I could put it in, I mean I could tuck it under the ESC, have the antennas come out and go along here. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. But then I guess it would need to go, what? I suppose, yeah, if I put it... Alright, let's just pop this off. It's not plugged into anything, so you can just pop it down to the side. Then once again, unscrew all these mounts. And I was hoping to get it to the point where I could actually turn on and check things. Check that we're getting some video feed and all that, but if the video transmitter's not going to be wired up, there's not a huge amount. I can plug it in and check the lights come on. Well, that is about it. So I think that's where I'm gonna have it. I'm gonna heat shrink it as well. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have it under here, so the antennas run along the legs and then out that way. So I don't know if there's any cable tie. No, not really anywhere to cable tie. Well, I suppose what I should check is, does this still fit nicely? I'm gonna do that. Yes. Oh, I suppose there's that's gonna put it up too high. Yeah, I mean that should be fine. I think that'll be fine. And then what I can do is just have you under there. Pop you back on these. If you'll go back on. No, that's done. Pop the standoffs back on. Duh. It is getting late. It is getting late. But we've made progress, and that's the important thing. Right. Let's just use those standoffs for now. Pop those on there. This will come up through there. And then there's a lot of cable, but I don't really want to cut it in case I want to move things around if it doesn't work in that position or what have you. And I'll need to tidy up some of these cables as well. Right. Okay. Well, I have a general idea of where it's going to go. So I think, okay, that's pretty sturdily in there. I'm just going to do it this way around. Alright. So I will need to take that out because I'll need to pop some of the things off. Alright, thanks for joining, Calvin. Appreciate you keeping me company. Alright, so that's ground. So let's get some solder. Shouldn't have turned my soldering iron off. Well, I'm glad I figured out where this one goes. I'm probably not going to be far behind him, to be honest. I'll get this soldered up. And then once this is soldered up, I think I'm going to call it a night. But I hope people have enjoyed watching so far. I hope it hasn't been too frustrating for people who know what they're doing. You're like, oh, why are you doing that? I'm always going to screw it up. But it's all part of the learning experience. Get the solder to flow, that would be great. This is why I don't like soldering with a fine tip. They can be rather annoying. Right, okay. So if I go to 4.5, get off there. We don't want no hair on here. Clean tip. I am gonna put some flux on because it's just not. It ain't flowing. Solder ain't flowing very nice. Some good old fluxy. Okay, right. Did that? No, that's not that. Good. No, okay. Much better. Right. Okay, yellow to TX2, which is the one at the back, and what is it? It's green to RX2. Green being S plus Ms. And I'm presuming. Receiver, so. I think that I should double check. Thank you for the follow. Jan Draloon. I hope I'm saying that right. Appreciate the follow. Thank you for that. Thank you for letting me know, Mo. Appreciate it. Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna do the smart port. which is yellow, and then I want to check before I make another mistake, is S bus out referring to stuff coming out of the receiver, or is it going out to the receiver? And is S bus in going into the receiver or out? I think S bus out is going out of the receiver and into the flight controller, but I want to make 100% sure on that. So yellow, double check. Yellow is smart port. Smart port goes to TX2. TX2 is you. So let's get you soldered up. Right. Okay. Let's see. Let us see. Wiring. Sorry. Bear with me 1 second whilst I figure this out. Just trying to. S bus in S bus smart port. Uninverted. What? That's S bus. Uninverted smart port. Interesting. So I might not. The smart port might be all that is needed. Potentially. Is this image going to load at any higher quality? Nope. I reckon that I don't need to wire up any of the others. I think that the smart port is the only one that you need to wire up, by the looks of things. Although maybe I'm just misunderstanding. It could be. I am not sure what the smart port does. So I'm gonna do some more research into that. I probably need to watch some videos and do some Googling and what have you. But thank you everyone for joining me. I hope that you guys enjoyed some of it, at least. I hope that maybe you learned something. Maybe you just were here to enjoy watching me make mistakes and get confused and nearly break things, which is fine. That's why I'm doing it. That's why I'm doing it as a beginner and sharing my experience. Yeah, thank you all for watching. The next tech stream will be next Friday. This was this Friday's tech stream. I'm swapping Friday and Wednesday around, so I'm going to do a game stream on this Friday, and then the following Friday will be back to tech streams. I will do a drone update on that one. I will probably be doing some programming again. I want to get the Twitch bot that I'm writing finished. that may or may not be finished before that stream. If it is, then I'll find something else. I've got plenty of other side projects to program if you guys are interested in that. If you have any suggestions for electronics projects that you want to see someone do on stream, if you want to see me do something, make something funny, make some silly robot, I'm more than happy to do that as well. More than open to suggestions. But yeah, thank you all for joining me. Thank you for joining the stream, Godly. And thank you for the follow as well. Much appreciated. And I hope you all have a good night, a good day, a good afternoon, whatever, wherever you are. And I will see you around. Thanks again for watching. See you all next time.